everyone. Welcome to another nonfiction book review. In case you don't know, I'm Dave Ringo. If you're a Doctor Who history buff like me, or a book collector, these reviews are designed for you. I'll be taking you through every historical or reference book ever made on the subject of Doctor Who, so that you can decide which ones you want to get. Or, if you want to get them all, which ones are out there. If that sounds appealing, I invite you to subscribe. Appearing in the scanner today, Inside the TARDIS, The Worlds of Doctor Who by James Chapman. This book is a well-researched history of the Doctor Who television show, and I would argue is the very best that has been written to date. This is not a book that was just knocked out in a few months. Years of work went into it. It's scholarly, rife with endnotes and other apparati, full of serious discussion, and an indispensable work for anyone interested in Doctor Who history. One of my faves. Well, now a little bit about the author. This is from the back of the book. James Chapman is professor of film at the University of Leicester. Leicester. Leicester? Ah, yes. Leicester. Darwin, whoa. How do you pronounce Leicester? No. He says Leicester. Thanks. He is a leading cinema and television historian, and his books from I.B. Tauris include License to Thrill, a cultural history of the James Bond films, Saints and Avengers, British adventure series of the 1960s, Past and Present, National Identity, and the British historical film. This was first put out in September of 2006 by I.B. Tauris. The second edition, which I have here in my hand, was published in December 2013. It was finished in January 2013, so it came out in the anniversary year. And it has 382 pages. There are chapters on each era of the show, corresponding generally with the different showrunners throughout the years. And it's very informative. It's very fair. It doesn't favor one showrunner over another. It is actually the part on Colin Baker I thought was very fairly done. One of the best parts of his book is chapter 1, in which he discusses the creation of Doctor Who, a space-age-old curiosity shop. And he says that there are a lot of different theories out there, a lot of different versions of Doctor Who's creation in various books. But by researching the archives, he shows that actually it's not that simple. Here's the words he uses. We have recourse to the BBC written archives, where the evidence contained in copious memoranda and discussion documents reveals a history more complex than even the laws of time. There's even a chapter on Torchwood and a chapter on the Sarah Jane adventures. The last part, right after the Sarah Jane chapter, is when he brought, for the second edition from 2010 to 2013, bringing it back up to date at the time. We have appendices with interesting things. The lost episodes. It's just a couple of pages here describing what happened and how the episodes were lost. There's a second appendix with all the production credits. We can find these elsewhere, but it's handy. And then there's also production credits for Torchwood and Sarah Jane. And then extensive endnotes for each of the chapters, where if you wanted to look up anything that he cites, he's got all kinds of information in here. And a pretty great bibliography. It's one of the best parts of the book. Any books that you want on the history of the show, any articles that were written, he's got them down here if he consulted them. And there's quite a few of them in here, including magazines, websites, autobiographies and biographies. And there's an index in case you wanted to search for anything in the book. Why another history of the Doctor Who television show? Weren't there already enough of those done? Well, I'll let the author himself explain. This is from the introduction on page 9. He says, there is, of course, an extensive popular historiography of Doctor Who. In addition to the many books devoted to the Doctor Who phenomenon, the series has sustained its own dedicated magazine since 1979. This book is not, therefore, yet another internal history of Doctor Who, recounting the Doctor's many adventures and listing all his foes and companions. It is, rather, a cultural history of Doctor Who that places the series in several different contexts. It really comprises 3 separate, though overlapping histories. The institutional history of the BBC, throughout the period that the series has been in production, a critical history of British science fiction over the same period, and a wider social history of how Doctor Who has been informed by and responded to developments in British society and culture since 1963. And he also mentions that this is the first history of Doctor Who to draw extensively upon the full riches of the BBC written archives. He did a lot of work. All right, pros and cons. The pros would be that the book is well researched, that it's insightful. It contains everything you might want to know about the history of the show. You'll find that the book is very easy on the eye, laid out well. What's great about it is, although it is scholarly, it is written in highly accessible language, so you'll enjoy reading it. The cons of the book? Well, one of the cons is that it only goes up to 2013, so it's 5 years out of date at this point, and it's going to continue to be even further out of date as time goes on. Another one of the cons is there are no huge bombshells, there are no huge aha moments in the book. There are things that you may not have heard of before, but nothing groundbreaking or controversial. I highly recommend the book, though. It's one of the must-haves for any person interested in Doctor Who history. Is it still available? Yes. Oh, easily had. I bought this one. You can tell it's even a little used, but you can find this almost anywhere. I posted some links in the description of the video down below, so you can find it easily if you want to get yourself a copy. I hope you liked this book review. If you did, please hit the like button. Do you have a copy of this book? I'd be interested to know your thoughts on it. Best parts? Things that stood out for you? You can put it in the comments down below. What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? I'll be giving you another book review in a few days. Stay tuned. If you want to know when it comes out, just hit the bell next to the subscribe button, and I'll send you a notification. Until then, safe travels in time and space. I have a British friend. I can call him and ask him. Hello, Lester. How's it going? Dave Ringo here. Yeah, can you help me out? How do you pronounce the word Leicester? Yeah, I know that's your name. Yeah, that's your name. Could you tell me how to pronounce this word? Why do you keep telling me your name? Ha ha. What, you think you're being funny or something? Never mind.